Welcome to Organizing Life's Daily Demands. My name is Peter Gordon, and I'm the president of New York Financial Organizers. We're daily money managers, and we help people pay their bills, file insurance claims, do budgets. We do all the non-investment side of personal finance. Essentially, we help them organize life's daily demands of money. Purpose of this podcast and video is to introduce people to other professionals who help organize life's daily demands. And today I'm thrilled to have Sonya Weisshappel as my guest. She's the founder of Seriatim Inc. And how you doing today, Sonya?
Nice to see you, Peter, and our
Yeah, I think
customers.
yes. This in March.
That's right.
I think a good place to start is actually tell us about the name of your company.
So Seriatim means in a series, and the logo is a circle on the far right that's been cut in half, and on the left, it's at its furthest point. The circle is just at breaking point, and it goes through a series of steps to become whole. And what I have found is that most people feeling disorganized are at a mental breaking point, just like the S is in Seriatim. And so it's a series of steps to become organized.
That's really great. That's really great. And so now tell us about Seriatim.
So Seriatim, I started it in the late 90s, actually, as a way to help people match to their stuff. People go through life, they have things in their world, and they also have intentions. And when your intentions and your objects in your life don't match, it's clutter, and it causes problems with harmonious moments in one's life, but it also can cause physical or financial problems if you have too much. We're overspending or we're over collecting on something and we can't fit it in our space. So all of those issues around stuff is you deal with the money, we deal with the tangible. And what I have found is that people just don't know what they own. They don't realize how many vases they have. They don't realize how many expired cans of food are in the cabinet or old medicines. They just keep collecting and putting new on top of old. And ultimately, when you clear out an estate, you have to deal with all of it. And so Seriatim and my new division of Seriatim, Chaos Whisperer, is all about planning.
So planning, what do you mean by that? All about planning. People have to want to plan, right?
Well, sometimes planning is foisted on someone. Someone goes through an illness or a divorce or, God forbid, a fire or a flood. Those moments force people to have to deal with their tangible, their life. And when you have to deal with your stuff, you have a better chance of knowing what's there. You make choices of what to keep and what not to keep. But if someone has stayed stagnant in their space for more than 10 years, you often don't know what's in the back of closets or bottoms of drawers or, the attic, the garage, all those hiding nooks and crannies. And if you don't know what you own, and that problem arises or care comes into the home to take care of an ailing parent, things start to disappear. People start to ask, where is, what happened to, why is this on the insurance policy but not in the house? All of these things start to come up, and it comes back to not knowing what you own and where it is. And I believe that the tangible assets are not managed by the wealth managers because there's no incentive for them to manage it. There's no value on their balance sheet to manage it. However, not managing it is a huge risk. And we fill the gap of giving that answer to the advisors. Because if you know what you own and what it's worth, you can properly insure it, you can protect it, you can distribute it, you can make a proper estate plan from it, all sorts of preparation. You can distribute it, you can get rid of it, you can donate it, you can sell it, but you can't do anything with it if you don't even know it's there.
Yeah, and it's the wealth managers, that's not their area of expertise at
Why would
all.
it be? Why
They're
would it?
investment people.
Yeah,
So it makes sense, like and we're financial organizers,
right.
but I'm not working with tangible items. That's not what I do. And I always, refer out to experts like yourself when it's necessary. Um, when do people come to you?
Sometimes, like you, Peter, sometimes they arrive with the car full of bags of paper that need to be sorted out and letters of like, you owe me kind of thing. I'm sure is how you get your clients. Ours come when a crisis has hit, when there's been a fire or a flood, or someone's decided that they're going to renovate because they're an empty nester, or they've been given a job transfer and they need to move their life, or their parent needs to move into their home, some sort of monumental life quake event. It has happened.
I like
And
that light quake.
yeah, that Bruce Felder, I think his name is, he wrote a book called Life Transitions and he called them life quakes. And every 3 to 5 years, we have these life quakes. And
That's
it is true though, because our clients come back to us kind of in a 7-year cycle when they've gone through, like, they've had their second child and then they are living, and then they become an empty nester, or their parent needs care and needs to move into their home or move out of the family home, and there needs to be a big change. That's when clients come to us. But how your world and my world intersect is when we're the client is trying to make a plan because they've had this disaster of some sort, or life quake. It doesn't always have to be bad. It could be a marriage, it could be a birth of a child. There are happy versions of that, but they're they're like stress points in someone's life, and it is not the time to be doing the archaeological dig necessarily to get to all of the answers, because they're full up in their brain with what is a 5 alarm fire mentally in front of them. However, our worlds intersect, because if you know what they own and you look at it and you realize that you're paying for twice as much insurance than they need to be paying for, or not enough insurance and they're in a flood zone, or there's going to be a major change in their life in the near future, like they're going to give up their home, you need to know what's going to be in motion so that you can properly manage the money and the expenses around that event. So that's how we get our clients, is when they come through a crisis.
right. Do you ever get clients that are not in crisis?
Yes. So in any estate, I've realized that every estate, everyone's life can be divided into three categories. One is tangible assets, stuff, our clothes, our art, our furniture, jewelry, then paperwork and files, and then memorabilia. There is not one thing in your home or office that doesn't fall into those three categories. And when people are going through a major change, they either call their trusted advisor or their therapist and they work through that change. And then they turn their attention onto their home and their physical space. Or they call us and they deal with their physical space to calm themselves down, and then they call their trusted advisor. So we do a lot of paper, clutter, and photo work, which is non-crisis. And we've changed that now into dealing with, we created what's called Chaos Whisperer as a way to consolidate all of those efforts and put it all in one place so that while you're doing your paperwork, while you're cleaning out your stuff, you can tell stories about what your favorite objects are and what you care about and put it all in one place. So your trusted advisors and your family members, if God forbid you didn't come home that evening, they would have a spot where that is. So that is our non-crisis work.
That's great. That's great. Um, we talked before, and it was interesting. You mentioned about overcoming the fear of not knowing where to begin. And I had said that I think fear is a really important topic. We all have different fears, and it
Mhm.
gets in the way. And why don't you talk about that?
So, you know, um, uh, money can be emotionally charged for people.
A little bit.
Yeah, and people have their good days and their bad days and the trigger points and the parts that don't bother them. In in Seriatim and Chaos Whisperer, we know it's the same with objects. There are some objects they absolutely are calm around, and some objects that cause them uh, distress. And being mindful of the fear, being mindful of the overwhelm that comes into people's lives when they don't feel at ease in their space. Clutter can be mental, clutter can be physical, clutter could be financial, but all of it is fear based from being overwhelmed with something. They don't know how to begin. And so I normally, when we're working with a client who's in complete and utter overwhelm, it's normally starting in one corner of a room and only leaving in the corner of the room what belongs and moving everything else away from the corner so that you're kind of exposing the less fearful, the more calm space. And yes, you make a big pile of muck and mess, but those things either are going to be trashed or donated or sold or given to fans and family, which is a whole nother set of to-dos. But at least there's a beginning. And people get overwhelmed, as you and I both know, when we try to do too many things. So it's often like some people say, just spend 5 minutes a day. I'm more of a pick a category, like treasure
Right.
hunt, Easter egg hunt, whatever mentally I spy works for you, whatever game you need to play with yourself. Find in the house all your vases or all of your shoes or all of your financial documents, whatever it is, and you put them all together. That's kind of your first step. And then from the big all together, then there's the whittling down of what's important and what's not. But if you start to deal with a piece of paper, a shoe, a piece of jewelry, a piece of art, you can't make decisions of that against each other. You're not looking at the whole category. It would be like you looking at the P&L and only looking at one line and not against last year's
Absolutely.
budget or last month's or category over category. You can't do it in your own life. You don't choose you choose what you love to wear based on like, that one makes me feel good, and then the ones that get left in your closet all the time, the items that get left in your closet are probably the ones that there's a spot, it doesn't feel good, it's itchy, whatever it is, you gotta figure out whether or not you wanna carry that with you.
How do you deal with the fear people have of throwing something away? I mean, and no matter what, I mean, you don't have to be a hoarder to have that experience.
No.
I'm not a hoarder, but I find there's clutter, and I just like, oh, I'm not going to get rid of that. And how do you actually deal with that with your clients?
It's funny. So when you say that, what that means to me is that if you're going to say, I'm not going to get rid of that, you're not looking at that with its other same in its category. So if that was a pen, let's say, and you have a pen on your desk and it works and you're like, I'm not going to get rid of it. But then if you go to every drawer in the house and every surface in the house and you collected all the pens and you realize that the school down the street could have a year's worth of pens from your pen collection, you're like, do I need to have enough pens for the next 10 years of my life? Probably not. But you don't line that up for yourself until you see the magnitude of what's there. If you're just looking at one off, no one ever lets that go.
Right, right.
It,
That's really
it
interesting.
there's no perspective, and I think that that causes the overwhelm because you're not grounded in uh, I have a pen cup on my desk and it can fit 50 pens. Oh, look, I have 200. Okay, I can only keep 50 on my desk. Do I have space to put the other 150 in the closet? Yes or no. And if yes, okay. But then there's the daily money manager person would probably say, why did we order so much? Do we
Right.
need to have that much? You're not going to use that many pens or rubber bands or paper bags.
Whatever.
You know, people people don't always think through. We're all guilty. You go to the grocery store and you buy an extra something something and then you put it in the cabinet and a year later you're like, "Oh my god, it's expired," kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. No, I certainly know that feeling.
Yeah.
Um, when do people come to you? I mean, or like, how? What's I don't. I never like what's your best client, but when is the time for somebody to work with you?
I think it's when someone decides to work with someone like you. Because really, if they're interested and willing to acknowledge that they need help with their bills and their process, they're really asking, they've chosen to deal with finances. But if they're asking for that help, there's probably the same version of help necessary in other aspects of their life.
Yeah.
And tangible assets is what is the help that we can offer. And often I find that when someone like yourself starts with a new client and you're saying, may I have, can you get me copies of, or can you find me these files? That is the perfect time to begin to work with someone like us because we would go and do the treasure hunt, find all their files, get them organized, and deliver a banker's box or a truckload of whatever it is that one needs because they couldn't do it. That's why they're asking for help, but they're overwhelmed in getting it. And then they waste you and your team's time not being organized enough to give it to you succinctly. Accountants say it to me all the time. They
Yeah.
send us, they're like, please go fetch all the papers I need from this client's home because I'm getting drips and drabs and
And
it's
that's one of the things we do is that we go through. But I mean, I'm glad we're having this conversation for a number of reasons. One being, I do have a new client that could definitely use your help. It would be great. Um, that's fantastic.
yeah.
And that being said, go
Yeah.
ahead.
And for you, I mean, what do you find the fear brings? I mean, how are they coming to you when when they realize that they're getting certified letters and tax,
Well,
done.
what people, yeah, well, it's often not the individual that is coming to us. We're referred by professionals. So
Mhm.
we were referred by an attorney because this person needs a fiduciary, or we're referred by a care manager
That's
because
right.
they can see, well, they're not getting, the care manager is not getting paid, so they like us coming in. But they could also see the bills piling up and whatnot, and how that works. Um, what what we have difficulty is when it's a hoarding situation,
Of course.
and then we often step away, and every situation is different.
Well,
Um,
it's
but it's that.
extreme.
But what stays what gets in the way for everyone who we deal with is fear. A
Mhm,
fear of finding out what's missing or what's wrong. But
mhm.
the only way to deal with that is to attack it and to get at it.
Well, the underbelly of that fear tends to be shame. And when it's the shame of, how could I let it go? Why am I not smart enough? Why wouldn't I have enough energy? How come I, can't maintain my home this way? And they get embarrassed. But the reality is, that fear, that shame, all of that emotion is not fixing the problem. And so
Oh,
the
not at all.
and and the more you push it away, the bigger it mounts. So for those of us, you and me and our teams, it's actually fun for us to help those people, and
Oh,
they
I
they
love it. I
they
love it.
feel so much better. We're all
Yeah.
good. But it's that moment when the door swings open, that customer or, family member is in, um, a red alert emotional problem. And then, if they can endure that discomfort for a couple hours, you or I can help them, and our teams can help them feel better. And they then wonder what took them so long to get there.
Yeah. Well, Sonia, that was wonderful. Thank you very much. It was really a great conversation. Your information will be um, accompanying either the video portion or the podcast portion. What's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you?
I think reaching out on the landline, we are old school, 212 877.
Dying out, though.
I know, but you know what? Conversations, so 212-877-3267. But conversations are easier to understand how someone's feeling than some of the nuances with the emails. But, you know,
Couldn't agree more.
you
Let
know,
alone tech.
yeah, but we enjoy our people and we enjoy their lives. So,
I think that's why we do what we do.
yeah,
So. Well, this was wonderful. Thank you so much,
always a
Sonia.
treat. So thank you, Peter. Nice to see you.
And everybody, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.